It seems that one relief pitcher who started on the bubble has locked in a spot on the opening day roster. Plus, Jack Flaherty takes the bump and has another game against the Nationals. This is Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou, and a lifetime Cardinals fan, and I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. You can follow me on Twitter at JD Sports Radio. You can follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals. I want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast, as well as YouTube. Make sure you jump on over to YouTube, find us, like us, subscribe. Make sure you comment. That way you can interact with us. Hit the notification button. That way you know when new episodes are posted. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty of spring training, and manager Ali Marmol and the rest of the coaching staff and front office, they got some big decisions to make before opening day, which is March 30th at Busch Stadium against the Toronto Blue Jays. We still don't have a definitive answer on who's actually going to be the remaining outfielders behind guys like Tyler ONeill, Dylan Carlson, and Lars Nootbaar. Jordan Walker appears to have earned a spot, and the team does have one spot open on the 40-man roster, which seems to make sense that you just slide Jordan on in there. But are we sure it's 100% anymore? I'm still under the impression that Walker will make it, but maybe it's a little less certain than it was a week ago because his numbers have dipped a little bit recently. But that's bound to happen. But here was one thing. Like, check this out. One stat that really jumped out at me. I was going through his numbers in spring training. I was like, all right, let's see what we got here. I didn't really notice this until I looked at these stats. I was like, whoa. So this spring, Jordan Walker is hitting .486 against right-handers. .486. But against lefties, he's 1 for 18. His batting average is 56. I had no idea the splits were that far apart in spring training. Kind of wild when you think about it, considering he's a right-handed hitter. You would think that he would mash the left-handers, but that hasn't been the case this spring. And it wasn't this bad last year, and it wasn't this far apart last year when he was in the minors. At Springfield, he hit .313 against righties, .283 versus lefties. So there's certainly a discrepancy there, but not quite as drastic as it's been during spring training. And part of that maybe is that he hasn't faced a lot of good left-handed pitchers in his career yet. 127 at bats against lefties last year. I'm not really worried about it, but I just wanted to point it out because when you see 486 and then you see 56, you're like, whoa. Just something to put out there to you. On the infield, we've seen a host of people playing that because we've got so many guys in the World Baseball Classic. Edman, Goldie, Arenado, your starters there, playing in the WBC. And with the Paul DeJong injuries that he's been dealing with, does Taylor Motter make the team all of a sudden? Taylor Motter with the long hair, the beautiful long locks, the beard, husky guy, but has been able to play first, third. He's also played some shortstop. Is he a guy that makes the team? He's seen his fair share of action, hasn't really disappointed, has been pretty good. What about Kramer Robertson? Kramer Robertson, another name to keep an eye on. The toughest decisions, though, at least in my opinion, will be in the bullpen, where the competition for these final spots, it's been fierce the entire camp. A lot of guys pitching really, really well, and they deserve to be on the opening day roster, but there's just not enough spots to go around. So some deserving guys are going to be disappointed during these final cuts when they happen. And one of those decisions appears to have been made today, and that was for the sixth man swingman spot on the pitching staff, which looks like it has now been won by one Jake Woodford. And coming into the spring, it seemed as if it was going to be Dakota Hudson's spot to lose, and that's what he's done. Dakota Hudson continued to show the same inconsistencies that have plagued him since coming to the major leagues. Jake Woodford was about as good as you could ask for. So Jake Woodford looks like he's going to get this spot on Monday. Woodford had another outstanding performance, getting the start against the Marlins. He throws 5 innings, allows 0 runs on 5 hits. He walks 1. He strikes out 7. He's thrown a team-high 17 2/3 innings this spring with an ERA of 2.04 and has struck out 18 hitters. He had one hiccup, really, one. And that was against Houston, where they scored 3 runs on him in 3 2/3 innings. In fact, only Houston has actually scored off of Jake Woodford this spring. The other lone run was a solo dinger they hit off him back on March 2nd. As for Dakota Hudson, it's just not been good. It's not been good. 8 2/3 innings this spring. He's done some work on the backfields instead of pitching more in real games. But in those 8 2/3 innings, 6 runs, 17 hits, 2 of those home runs, 4 walks, only 3 strikeouts. Remember, coming into the spring, the Cardinals talked about we need more swing and miss stuff coming out of that bullpen and just on the staff in general. 3 strikeouts is not going to get it done. ERA, 6.23. Ugly. It was announced today that both Hudson and Matthew Liberatore have been assigned to the AAA Memphis roster. Liberatore has been excellent this spring, so it's not really anything that he has done. That hasn't been a problem for Matthew Liberatore. He's actually been very, very good. He's one of those guys that I think that if something happens to one of your starters and you got to bring somebody up from AAA, that he could slide into that rotation. Like he's going to be that guy. He's going to slide into that Memphis rotation for sure, just fine, and hopefully continue on this upward trajectory. And hopefully, because we've been watching the Randy Arozarena show in the World Baseball Classic for Team Mexico, been stealing the show throughout most of this tournament, although, they didn't get past Japan, but still, he's been really, really good in Team Mexico, and the WBC, he's just been showing off. He's hitting lights out, making great defensive plays. Watching all of that didn't make that trade feel any better, seeing Randy do what he does. Although I did point out to a few people to remember that with the draft pick that the Cardinals were able to acquire from Tampa Bay, they used that draft pick on Tink Hens, who is now their best pitching prospect, according to the MLB Pipeline rankings in their system. People seem to love him. I love him. He looked great in spring training. He's just young. So we'll have to wait and see if he can continue to make the quick climb up to the major leagues. But it wouldn't hurt if Libby kept improving to, kind of help ease the pain of that trade, which still stings to this day. You can't say that it doesn't. For those of you who say, nah, I don't want him on my team, you're kidding me. I saw people saying that, Randy Arozarena wouldn't have a spot in this outfield. Yeah, he would. You wouldn't start Randy Arozarena over Dylan Carlson right now. If not, you're not thinking right. You're not thinking right. The guy has done everything you could possibly imagine for the Tampa Bay Rays outfield. There's no reason to think that he wouldn't be starting one of these positions in the Cardinals outfield. But that's fantasy. That's not what the reality is. The reality is Dakota Hudson just hasn't been good, plain and simple. And no matter if he's starting or relieving, he just hasn't done well. You root for the guy because you're a fan of the team. You don't like seeing guys struggle. You hate that things have been as tough as they have been for him since having Tommy John surgery. But this is a business, and the best players need to be playing. So we have to be realistic here. Dakota Hudson's days on this Cardinals roster and part of this organization, they could be numbered. I mean, he's 28 years old now. He'll be 29 in September. The competition behind him is passing him by at a rapid rate. Perhaps he gets things sorted out at Memphis, and is useful at some point. Injuries often happen, and he would likely be one of the first call-ups if he's throwing well in Memphis and something were to happen to one of the guys in the starting rotation. I would think Jake Woodford would slide into the top 5 first, and then Dakota would come in behind him as the 6-man swingman type of situation. But the clock is ticking on Dakota. Jack Flaherty took the ball today against the Nationals, and it was an up-and-down day for the right-hander. We're going to talk about it next on Locked On Cardinals. Now, these days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available, and that's why you have to check out LinkedInjobs.com, because LinkedInjobs.com, they make things simple for you. They really do. Like, the whole idea of LinkedIn Jobs is so you can find the people you want to hire and find them quickly. That's the whole point. You don't want to sit around and wait on them, right? You want to find these people as quickly as possible, and they make it really easy to do just that. So here's what you do. You get your job written up. You add the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile, and that way you can spread the word that you're hiring. Simple tools like the screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. So post your job and do it for free at linkedin.com/lockedonmlb. That's linkedin.com/lockedonmlb to post your job for free. Terms and conditions may apply. So it hasn't been the greatest of springs for Jack Flaherty. Hasn't been the worst either, because at least he's out on the mound now and competing. Before, we wouldn't even get to see him pitch because he was always hurt. But other than a few innings here and there, still kind of looks like the rusty returning from injury Jack that we've seen over the last year and a half, instead of the guy that we saw a couple years ago who was just dominating teams. Like, we're just not seeing the Jack Flaherty that we were hoping for, at least that I was hoping for. Today was another one of those mixed bag days for Jack. A lot of traffic on the base pass. He allowed 9 hits in just 4 2/3 innings. A few of those hits, granted, were soft contact hits. Nothing you can do about that. Balls just find grass sometimes. And you could tell Jack was getting frustrated out there because he would make good pitches, and then these weak hits would just fall, and it's annoying as a pitcher. Trust me, when those kind of things, when you're like, I got that guy out, there's no reason that guy should be on first base right now, but he is anyway. But to his credit, he did work his way out of most of those jams and allowed just 2 runners to cross the plate today. He also allowed only 1 free pass, so at least he was making the Nationals beat him, and he wasn't beating himself by walking a lot of guys, which he's been pretty good at doing so far this spring. He struck out 4 more hitters, but it was a taxing 90 pitches over 4 2/3, but he came out of it healthy, and on occasion, he hit 95 today on the gun, which is good to see because a lot of people were getting concerned about his velocity. They were saying his velocity was down, and he was pumping 95 today. So far this spring, Flaherty has tossed 16 innings, which is second only to Jake Woodford. His ERA, 4.50. He's allowed 8 runs on 22 hits with 4 walks and 14 strikeouts. Opponents are hitting a whopping 338 against him this spring. That's not good. That's not what you want to see, but he's healthy. And the hope is that, and it has been this whole time, is that when the regular season comes around, he'll be ready to go, and we'll start seeing him be more of the Jack Flaherty that we saw in past years, the good Jack Flaherty, that he'll eventually find his groove and be the effective starter that we remembered. I know that's asking a lot, and it's a very hopeful thing. It's a lot of wishful thinking, but that's what they're banking on right now. As for the rest of the game, 3 of the lefties competing for spots in the bullpen through today. 2 of them look good. 1 of them did not. Zach Thompson had himself another clean 1-2-3 inning that included a strikeout on just 11 pitches today. So he looked fantastic again. Zach Thompson, I've said it before, he looks like he's going to be your top left-handed option out of the bullpen to start the season. This spring, he has not allowed a run in 9 1/3 innings, and he struck out 9 guys. Hard to beat that. Andrew Suarez. How about some love for John Mozeliak and the scouting department who went overseas and found Andrew Suarez? They signed him to a minor league deal from over in Japan. He's done everything he can to make this team. I don't know if he will. He throws an inning and a third today of shutout ball, allows 1 hit, strikes out 1. He hasn't allowed a runner to cross the plate either this spring. In 8 innings of work, he has allowed 0 runs, and he has struck out 7 guys. In an article by Rob Raines at STLSportspage.com, manager Ali Marmol said that Suarez came to camp with what was described to him as a fastball that was sneaky. And that's what he has seen this spring. He's got some really bad swings on the fastball, on the breaking ball, some really defensive odd swings today. He's done his part for sure. We'll continue to run him out there and make a final decision on who breaks with us, but he's competed well. Not exactly a ringing endorsement for Andrew Suarez, but spots are at a premium. And if Thompson and Cabrera are in, which I think they are, do the Cardinals keep a third left-hander? That's the real question. I say, why not? The guy hasn't given up a run. Why not? But the problem is there's a numbers game going on in this bullpen, and you've got a lot of good guys, and you're paying a couple of them premium money. You've got Ryan Helsley, you've got Gallegos, Jordan Hicks, Drew Verhagen, Andre Pallante, Jake Woodford's going to be in there now. Chris Stratton, you're paying him over $2 million now. Wilking Rodriguez is a guy you got in the Rule 5 draft. You got to keep him up on the team, or you have to offer him back to the Yankees, who would probably take him back. And I don't think they want to do that. But all of those right-handers are trying to get spots as well. And one lefty who pitched today might have sealed his fate, and that's one Packy Naughton, who hasn't had a bad spring per se, but today he gives up 2 runs on 4 hits, including a 2-run home run in just 2/3 innings, and his ERA is now ballooned up to 5.40. Really no reason to keep him up there. He sounds like he's bound to go down to Memphis. And you've still got Anthony Misevich from the left side, who's been pretty good this spring as well. But if I could keep 3 left-handers, and there's no guarantee that they will, I'm taking Suarez over the other guys. He certainly earned it. With Hudson and Liberatore going to Memphis, it leaves 41 players in camp, and Marmol said that he expects to have the opening day roster set by Sunday night. As far as the rest of the game today, it's actually kind of boring, to be honest. The Cardinals rallied from a 4-0 deficit to tie the game in the 8th inning, but they scored their 4 runs on just 2 hits, thanks to 3 Washington errors, 2 walks. The game ended in a tie. Blech. Nobody likes that, but not a lot of offense to really talk about today. But speaking of offense, where has Tyler ONeill been? Team Canada's been gone for a little while. Where the heck has Bro Neil been hiding? We got an answer today. I'll share it with you next on Locked On Cardinals. The Built March Madness bracket is here. We know you have a favorite bar or puff, and now is your time to make it count. Go to BuiltMarchMadness.com to vote for your favorites. Personally, I'll be voting for the peanut butter brownie as the champ. That is my go-to. Built Bar has been since I started eating them, before I even started doing this podcast. I was already on the Built Bar train. Got to get that protein. And some other guys that I took, though, not just peanut butter brownie, because you got to make picks and other matchups. I took cookie dough puffs, coconut marshmallow puffs, churro puffs, brownie batter puffs. I like the puffs, if you can't tell. Double chocolate bars, mint brownie bars, and cookies and cream bars. Those are my picks to move on to the next round. And when you vote for your favorite bar or puff, you will be entered into a drawing where 50 lucky Locked On listeners will get a free box of Built. Not only that, but one Locked On fan will win a 12-month subscription to Built to have Built's best bars or puffs delivered monthly straight to your door. Built, the best protein bar ever. They're high in protein, low in sugar. They're covered in 100% real chocolate, so they taste delicious. They're a fantastic treat for those of you who are trying to eat healthier, but still, you crave those sweets from time to time, and I'm right there with you. But run to BuiltMarchMadness.com right now to vote for your favorite bar or puff and pick up a box while you're there. You can vote every day in March, so hop in and support your pick today. Tyler ONeill, he looked amazing in the World Baseball Classic for Team Canada. Did you see the stats that he threw up there? Hold on. I'm going to throw a picture up here because it's my favorite picture of Tyler ONeill on YouTube. You can see it. It's my favorite picture of Tyler ONeill ever. Double fisting the Budweisers and chugging them. Anyway, that guy right there you see on your screen, he went 8 for 13 and had a .615 batting average at the World Baseball Classic. He had 5 runs scored. He actually didn't hit a home run in this tournament. He only played it 4 games, but 2 doubles, walks 4 times. He drives in 4 runs, OPS 1.491 over 4 games. You gotta love that. But where's he been? Where has Tyler ONeill been since Team Canada got eliminated? Well, we finally got some answers today. Ollie told us that anybody returning from the WBC would get eased back into the lineup. So we knew that. But we found out that the reason for ONeill's extended absence today, apparently he'd been dealing with a stomach bug. And what are you going to do? You're not going to force him into the lineup when he doesn't feel good. So once again, according to Rob Raines, ONeill went through the full pregame practice on Tuesday, barring any setbacks, could be in the lineup on Wednesday against the Marlins. So it'd be good to see him back in a Cardinals uniform. Another name returning from the WBC is one Andre Pallante. Now, Pallante was with Team Italy. He's expected to make his first appearance since coming back to the team tomorrow as well. In 3 games for Team Italy, allowed 2 runs on 3 hits, 6 walks in 4 innings. Very not Andre Pallante. So let's get him straightened out, get him a couple appearances here in the spring before he heads to St. Louis. And the latest on shortstop Paul DeJong is that he aggravated his lower back taking grounders before Monday's game and is likely to miss the start of the season. Katie Wood, The Athletic, thinks the team will bring Taylor Motter with them on the opening day roster to replace DeJong. They've been using Mater a lot. Like, he's getting a lot of at-bats, and he hasn't looked that bad. And kind of rooting for the guy. He's 33 years old. He's been bouncing around to teams for years. I think he was on Cincinnati last year at one point, and he's done everything they've asked of him. So if they need a guy to come onto the roster, kind of be that final bench bat, why not Taylor Mater? Why not? You're not going to bring Mason Wynn and waste him on the bench. So there's no point in even talking about that anymore. He's going to start at AAA Memphis for sure. But maybe Taylor Mater's that guy. Also, everyone can breathe a sigh of relief after star third baseman Nolan Arenado got hit on the hand, got hit by a pitch against Cuba the other night, left the game, seemed to be okay, but they had to take x-rays to make sure everything came back negative. He was actually in the lineup for Team USA tonight in the championship game against Japan. So Arenado seems like he's going to be just fine and be ready to go on opening day. Once again, thank you guys for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen. Now for your second listen, check out Locked On Fantasy Baseball. You can win your league, which is what you want to do, by listening to Matt and Dom every day as they bring you the best fantasy draft strategies. Find Locked On Fantasy Baseball wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Cardinals will face the Marlins again tomorrow. I'm really tired of playing the Marlins. Aren't you? Are you tired of watching the Marlins play baseball? I'm excited about regular season stuff. I'm ready to get a move on. Jordan Montgomery, though, scheduled to start tomorrow. Hasn't looked that great this spring. Be nice if he was able to rattle off 5 solid innings tomorrow. So we'll keep an eye on that. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Help the channel grow, and love for the Cardinals grow throughout the community. You're the best fans of baseball for a reason, and I'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.